We're going to continue our discussion of sets, specifically looking at union and intersection of two sets. I'm going to begin by reviewing the terms that we're using in this section. First, remember that when we're talking about the union, we're using the symbol U, and that means that we're going to take our two sets and merge them together and not include any element twice. The intersection of two sets, we're going to use this symbol here. Remember that that means that we're going to write down what the sets have in common. And finally, we're going to bring back in the idea of the complement, which we talked about in the last section. Remember that the complement is an apostrophe next to the set name, and it means the elements that are not in the particular set that you're looking at. So as our first example, we're given a universal set with the numbers 0 through 9. We're given set A that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're given set B, which has 1, 3, and 5, and set C, which has 4, 6, and 8. And our first problem asks us to find A intersected with the quantity B union C. So we know from previous math classes that when we have parentheses in a problem, we always work inside the parenthesis first. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to work on identifying what B union C is. So remember that a union means that we're merging the sets together. So I'm going to write down set B, and then I'm going to write down set C. And I'm going to look for any duplicates. So I do not see any duplicates, so I think I'm fine to say that that is B union C. Now the other part of this deals with set A. So I'm going to jot down set A. And I'm going to note now that we want to intersect set A with this union that we just found. So remember that an intersection means that we're looking for things that the two sets have in common. So both sets have a 1. Both sets have a 3. And both sets have a 5. And both sets have a 4. So now we have our answer, which will be the set with the elements 1, 3, 5, and 4. So our next problem asks us to do C union with B complement. So I'm going to begin by writing down what B complement is. So remember, to find B complement, I'm going to compare B to the universal set. And so any element in B will not be in the complement. So because we have a 1 in B, I'm going to cross it out up here. We have a 3 in B, I'm going to cross that one out. And we have a 5. So B complement will be everything that's left. So that will be 0, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now the other part of the problem is referencing set C. So I'm going to write set C down as well. Set C has the elements 4, 6, and 8. So now we want to do a union between the two sets that we have written out. So I'm going to put these two sets together. I'm going to write down set C, and then I'm going to write down set B complement. And remember, as a last step, I'm going to look for duplicates. So both sets have a 4, so I'm going to get rid of one of the 4s. Both sets have a 6, so I'll need to get rid of one of the 6's. And both sets have an 8, so I'll need to get rid of one of the 8's. So what I'm left with will be C union B complement. Remember to always check for duplicates and take those out. So the last part of this problem asks us to do A complement intersected with C complement. So let's begin with A complement, and let's write down what that includes. So again, for the complement, you're going to compare the set A to the universal set. So I'm going to go through my universal set, and I'm going to mark off the elements that are in A. So 1 is in A, so I'm going to mark that off. 2 is in A, I'm going to mark that off. 3, 4, and 5. And so whatever I'm left with in the universal set will be A complement. Now, we'll do the same thing with C. We need C complement. So I'm going to compare set C to the universal set. I'm going to mark off the elements that are in C. So C has 4, 6, and 8. So C complement will have 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So now our problem asks us to intersect the two sets that we have listed. Remember, intersection is the elements that they have in common. So they both have a 0. They both have a 7. And they both have a 9. So our intersection will have the elements 0, 7, and 9. This is the same problem, just a continuation. We're going to do 3 additional parts to this same problem. So our next part says that we want to find B union C, and then we want the complement of that. Again, remember that you're starting inside the parenthesis. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to find B union C. So a union means to merge, so I'm going to write down B, and then I'm going to write down C. There are no duplicates, so I now have B union C. Now I need the complement of that. So I'm going to compare B union C back to my universal set. And I'm going to cross out anything that's in B union C. So I'm going to cross out the 1, the 3, the 5, the 4, the 6, and the 8. And so whatever is left will be B union C complement. So this will have the elements 0, 2, 7, and 9. Okay, our next part asks us to do first the part in parentheses, A intersects C. So let's compare set A to set C and write down the things that the two sets have in common. So they both have a 4, and that may be it. So the intersection of A and C is just the number 4. I now need to look at B complement. So again, if B is 1, 3, and 5, I'm going to go to my universal set, mark off those values, and whatever is left will be B complement. And now we want to intersect those two sets. So we're going to write down any element that those two sets have in common. Well, the only element that they have in common is the 4. So for our last example, we need B union C. So again, merging those two sets, I'm going to write down set B, I'm going to write down set C, and there are no duplicates. I need A complement. So I'm going to look at set A, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to mark this off. So A complement will be the other numbers, so 0, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we're now going to union these two sets. So we'll put these two sets together, making sure that we don't have any duplicates. So I'm going to first write down set A complement. Then I'm going to write down B union C. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to erase anything that is a duplicate. So I see that I have 2 6s, so I can get rid of one of the 6s. I have 2 8s, so I'll get rid of one of the 8s. And I think that is all for the duplications. So we now have A complement union with the union of B and C.